Alright, so I'm going to do a tutorial on how I do my face makeup, foundation, concealer, and all that jazz. I got a request from one of my subscribers. Don't remember her YouTube name, but I will put it down here if I remember, or maybe I shouldn't, I don't know. Anyways, here is a tutorial of how I do my foundation. I've been wanting to do this for quite some time now, but I just never really thought anyone was really interested. But here we go. I don't always, if I was doing this to go out, to work, or like if it was back in the old times, and I was going to work every day, I would use a primer, and the primer that I do use is the Hourglass Mineral Veil Primer. I don't use this every day right now just because I don't need to. If I'm not going out, if I don't need my makeup to last, I don't use it. I do really find that does help. I've tried a lot of different primers, and that is the only one that I can like swear by. So today I'm going to be using a combination of foundations because my skin is like in between colors. So I'm going to be mixing the Kevyn Aucoin The Etherlist foundation with my Dior Backstage in W1. I love to mix this foundation with a lot of other different foundations to lighten it up, and I also really like the consistency of this. It's lightweight, sheer, but also has a bit of coverage. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by shaking this up first of all. And I do have a clean brush. I use the Real Techniques stippling brush, this one here. I've been using this brush since I found it, and I love it. I haven't stopped using it, and I'm just taking a little bit of that, and I'm taking a little bit. I do one area of my face at a time. Sometimes I mix it together on my forehead just to create an even color. And then what I do is I just blend it out with the stippling brush. Now I'm also in the middle of filming a tutorial for this look right here. I thought I would, break. Okay, and now I'm taking a damp beauty blender and I'm just patting over it to remove excess and get rid of any lines that the brush could leave behind. And then I'm repeating this step on both my cheeks. Now the key so I have like, I don't want to say old skin, because it's definitely not old, but if I don't moisturize and properly prep my face, it gets really dry, and then that's when the foundation can look really horrible on it. So I do try and moisturize it really well. Taking whatever's left on my chin, and then I'm going to begin buffing this one in. So the key is making sure your face is properly primed and moisturized. And by primed, I mean just like, prepping it by moisturizing it. Taking care of your skin and having a good skincare routine is like key to having makeup foundation sit nicely on the skin. And I noticed too, as I'm getting older, less is more. So like lightweight coverage foundations, like I can't use, one second, I can't talk and blend around my mouth. I can't use heavy foundations anymore. It just emphasizes pores and lines, and it just doesn't look right. So I find as I'm getting a little bit older, as the years go by, more lightweight foundations are key. And now what I'm doing here is I'm just really buffing it into the pores to help cover them up, fill them in, kind of thing. I don't really use a pore minimizing primer when I have foundation on, because I feel like when I'm buffing it, it just kind of buffs it away. That's my personal preference. If it works for you, fantastic. Okay, so a light coverage of that. Just taking it down my neck, just to help blend it in. Now I really don't need any more coverage after the first pass. If anything, I might put some on my chin, but usually the powder, so I'm just going to take a little bit of the Dior to put on my chin. Sometimes if I want a little bit more coverage of the foundation, I'll let it sit for a couple seconds just to help it like dry out and create a, dry out just a smidge and create a thicker, more coverage consistency. And just tapping. And then if you give another couple, 10 seconds, whatever, you can go ahead and tap it on with your beauty blender. or whatever technique tool you use to blend your foundation in. And then I find that gives a nice coverage, but not too much. Okay, now I have a little bit of fallout from my makeup here. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to take a little bit of some moisturizer that I don't like to use on the rest of my face. Or sometimes I even just take a primer, like I take this Smashbox Photo Finish Primerizer sometimes, and I'll use that instead. But basically I'm just taking the Q-tip with a little bit of cream or moisturizer on it to get rid of the fallout that's under my eyes. Because if you have dark shadow under your eyes and you go and put concealer on, it's going to emphasize the darkness under your eyes that you're trying to counteract. I'm just taking a Q-tip and just lightly brushing that away. Now for me this doesn't affect the concealer under my eyes creasing. If you find it does, don't do this step. Maybe use something else to remove the fallout under your eyes, like a makeup wipe or makeup remover, whatever works for you. I already moisturized the under eye area, with this cream here. I find if you use a lightweight cream, it doesn't. Oh great, my camera's gonna die. Ugh. I'm gonna have to delete some footage and then I'll have to come back. Give me one moment. Okay, I deleted some more videos. Hopefully the camera is back at the appropriate angle and distance. I didn't mess with that, but who knows. Okay, what was I saying? Moisturize the under eyes. If you find you get creasing, don't do that. For under eye concealer, I use the Born This Way Multi-Use Sculpting Concealer. My shade is in Swan because I do like a slightly lighter under eye, but not too light. And all I do is take 2 little dots, and I have 2 beauty blenders that I use, not beauty blenders, but beauty sponges that I use to blend it out with. But first I'm taking it with my finger, and I just tap it out. I find if you tap it out with your finger first, it kind of like spreads it evenly, and then it's easier for your beauty blender not to soak up excess and you get even coverage. And I'm taking first the slightly bigger, and I'm blending it down onto like the pore area here. I'm taking a little bit out here. For me, less is more with concealer, otherwise I feel like it sinks into all my creases and fine lines. So finding a concealer that is the right consistency and provides enough coverage without having to like pile it on and layer it on is key, I think. And then I'm taking this tiny beauty blender, and I'm just getting in the inner corner and blending it right up to the lower lash, and taking some on the inner corners as well. And there is how I do my under eye concealer. I don't set it with anything. I don't find that this creases on me. Another one that I used to use is the MAC Pro Longwear Concealer. This is nice. This does give like a nice natural finish to your under eye without it looking dry or cakey. I have never had any luck setting my under eye. Every time I do, no matter what powder I use, I just look old and decrepit. So I find finding a concealer that has both combination of being heavy enough coverage as well as slightly lightweight and only putting a little bit on is key. I don't set it. Now for the rest of my face, usually I used to use the Too Faced Born This Way powder. Where'd it go? Oh, it's right here. I use this when I'm going out and I need my makeup to last, the Too Faced Born This Way Ethereal Setting Powder. But when I'm just staying at home, not really doing much, or you know, I just have 1 or 2 errands to run, I just do a mixture of this Fenty Beauty powder in the shade Butter with my Hourglass, what is this? Hourglass Veil Translucent Setting Powder, this one here. And I'm taking this on a fluffy brush, and the only places, because I have drier skin now, the only places I set are my forehead, my nose, sides of my nose, and my chin. That is it. If I put powder on the rest of my face, I'm going to be dry as a prune. I'm already starting to feel slightly drier, but I will be spraying my face soon. I'm just gonna quickly, this is when I do my brows typically after I've powdered, so powder doesn't get into my brows when they're already done. That's why I don't do my brows first. I always do them like after my base is done. Just because when you're putting foundation on, I just don't like to get, I don't like to be careful around certain areas of my face. I find if you just do this after, then for me it's just the way I do it. Alright, next I'm going to use bronzer. What bronzer I use can vary today. Well, lately the one I've been using is the Too Faced Milk Chocolate Soleil bronzer on this fluffy brush. And I just take it a little bit on my forehead, down my nose slightly. I do take it on my neck because my neck is lighter than my face, and I have to self-tan my neck, but I don't self-tan my face. I know that's the weirdest thing ever, but I don't know what it is. I feel like as I've gotten older, I've gotten more pigments in my face, if that makes any sense at all. Alright, and then for contour, if I don't take blush, then I'll take an actual contour shade. I use this one by Smashbox, and I'm taking just a little bit in the hollows of my face right here. In the summertime, I use the Burity bronzer, RMS Burity bronzer. I really like this stuff. It's a cream bronzer. The reason why I'm not using it now is because I don't have very much left and I do want to buy more, but I don't want to spend the money because it's, I mean, I still have quite a bit left, but if I'm in the mood for all cream products, if I'm having an exceptionally dry face day, I will use that. But that's all I do for contour. Sometimes I'll take a little more on my nose. But yeah, that is basically it for that. For highlight, if I don't need to have a loose powder stick to it, I don't bother going with the cream first. Today, seeing as we're doing a cool look, maybe I'll go with slightly cooler bronzer. I guess for today I'll take Benefit Cookie. And I just pat it on first because I didn't set my face, so this helps boost the glow factor of it. I just pat it on and then I go in, buff it in after. And I just take it a little bit onto this area of my face right here. And I do highlight before I do blush because I find it helps blend everything in. I don't take it right onto this area here because I do have pores and I don't want to emphasize them, but sometimes I take some on the sides of my nose, sometimes, and then a little on the cupid's bow, just a little bit. And then for blush, do I want to do cream blush today or powder? Let's do cream. Okay, so I'm doing a rather cool tone look, so I feel like this blush may work for it. It's the Fenty, let me see. Will that work? It might work. And maybe I'll use this one. That might work a little bit better. Sometimes I actually too use a lipstick. Give me one moment and I'm just gonna go grab a lipstick to use as a blush today. Okay, scratch that. I was looking for something with a little more pink to it, but a little more cool tone. So I have this little sample that I got here from this MAC. It's called Perfect Getaway. I don't use it very often, but I'm just going to take a little bit here on my finger and I'm going to put it on my hand. And then I have my little MAC stippling brush. Here it's the 230. I'm just taking a little bit of that on my hand and then putting it, I think I might need a little bit more actually. There we go. And I'm just taking it lightly and tapping it, not like blending it in, but tapping it on the cheek area where you want your blush. Now I've also done this technique with powder when I powdered my cheeks. I think the key when I do this, the reason why it doesn't disrupt the makeup underneath, is the consistency of the cream blush, but also the patting motions. If you're going to go and do like violent rubbing, then of course it's going to take off what's underneath, but whenever I do this technique here, it never disrupts what I have underneath, even if I have powdered or not. I mean, there's a little bit of powder. I put my highlight there. Okay, on camera that probably looks a little bit too intense, but in real life it looks decent. Now for this step here, what I like to do, if I had more prominent pores in this area, what I would do is I would take this Stellar powder. It's you can either take this one, or I also have one from Bare Minerals. It's the Mineral Veil. When it was the summertime and I needed to conceal these pores a little more, what I would do is I would take this powder lightly on a small blender, and lightly I would just tap it in here where I needed it before I would apply blush or highlight or anything, and that would completely get rid of the pores there. But now that it's winter, my skin isn't as oily and it's on the dry side, and I'm using products to help refine my pores for the winter time. I don't need that product. I mean, I could still use it. I mean, I have a little bit of pores there, but they're nothing noticeable that I want to cover. So what I do now is to help blend just everything in, because I do have glow, and then, you know, the foundation is not as glowy. What I do now is I take this powder here from Hourglass. It's the Ambient Light Diffuse powder. And I take it on a tiny, tiny brush, and I just take some, mine shattered so I can't tilt it. It was devastating. I just take a little bit on here, and I just tap it in between. I just go over the skin and the blush, and I find that helps blend everything and make it look like skin, but also still give it a bit of like, sets it a little bit, gives it a bit of a glow, and also blends everything in so it's not like, what am I trying to say here? Different textures. So that is how I do that part there. Sometimes I'll even go back if I need more highlight. Not more highlight, but just blend things in a little more. I'll just lightly go over it one more time, really lightly, like feather light touches. And if I need some extra blending, I'll take my big dual fiber brush there. Okay. After that, I believe that is it for the face. At this point in time, I would finish up with the rest of my eyes. I believe that's it. One more thing that I did forget actually is setting spray. So the two setting sprays that I use are my MAC Fix Plus when I do need to add a little bit more moisture, or if I'm looking for long wear, I'll either use one of these two. I'll use the Urban Decay All Nighter, or the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Setting Spray. I can never say that without stumbling over my words. It's like a mouthful. But yeah, between those three setting sprays, that's what I'll do. If I'm wearing my mask all day, not all day, but if I'm going to have it up and down throughout the day, I'll wear one of the two setting sprays. But otherwise, if my face feels dry and tight, I will use my MAC Fix Plus, and I'll actually do that right now because I'm feeling kind of dry. Alright. And with that, that completes how I do my face makeup. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you guys learned something. Yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments below. I thank you guys very much for watching. Yeah, I'm going to go back and do this tutorial. It might be up before, or I think it's going to be up after I upload this video. So anyways, I thank you very much for watching, and you have yourselves a good rest of your day. Bye.